What's going on, y'all? This is college, my college experience, part six. This is my fifth year, second senior year. And this year was way more low key than I've ever been before. I had started living off campus second semester of my first senior year. And now this year, I'm all about graduating. I'm all about making sure I got the right classes. I barely see my friends anymore. And then the ones that are still in school they're all about graduating as well. So we just focused on what we got to do. From time to time we would get together and go to the club. Now more so we went to the club more so than we went to the campus parties. We rarely went to those. Because again, it's been overrun by freshmen. Like the people who we once ran around this campus with, a lot of the people, all the upperclassmen that we knew have already graduated, and it's just all a bunch of young people. We walking through the parties, we have no idea who these people are. It was definitely the perfect time to be low key, perfect time to just focus on whatever classes you have to pass. Focus on making sure you have the right classes. And had you been doing what you're supposed to do, at least since your junior year, when it's really time to buckle down. If you're smart, you've been doing this since freshman year. You've been really strategically planning everything. Most people, junior year is when they really start cracking down. So I pretty much had all my ducks in a row, thank God. But still, there was a couple classes that I needed to pass. First semester of my first senior year, it was like Econ 376, econometrics. And I mean, that class was a bitch. I didn't understand one thing that was going on in that class. So the only thing I really could do was just constantly show up. Show up to class on time, always take notes, ask questions, and then after class, always go after class to the professor, ask a bunch of questions, and take advantage of the computer lab he had in there. And we would be doing our assignments in there. He'd be going there checking up on us. And to be honest, it was me and this other white kid. And this white kid, he was different from the other white kids, because the other white kids clearly came from different backgrounds. They clearly came from money. He seemed to be more from a low economic status background, like myself. And we clearly had no idea what the fuck was going on in that class. Even asking the professor, he tried to explain it to us, like, yeah, you guys kind of, I could kind of tell. He's like, yeah, these guys have no fucking idea what they're doing. But at the same time, being an economics professor, he should definitely know that, people in different socioeconomic backgrounds are just taught different things. The schools aren't the same. I mean, the way, you from a low income background, there's a bell. A public school, it pretty much trains you to be a worker, trains you to follow directions. It trains you to, when the bell rings, that means you move. It trains you to be a robot pretty much, and then the more upper class, the higher socioeconomic backgrounds is run more like a college campus. So they're used to the college environment because they've been doing it since high school. Some even earlier than that. So he understood from that standpoint, like, yeah, there's no way these guys are gonna get this class. So, one thing this is a tip for all the college students out there. Even if you have no idea what's going on in the class, if you constantly show up after class, ask the professor questions. If he's doing like a lab or the teacher's always going to be in his office. They have office hours that they're there to answer any questions. So any assignment he gives you, you're over there asking a lot of questions, and you're just constantly showing the professor that you care about passing this class. You're showing up, you're asking questions, you're doing it to the best of your ability. Even if you have no idea what the fuck's going on in the class, they'll always give you that C minus. They will always, because you're attentive and you're there. So, these professors understand that, like I said, different socioeconomic backgrounds. A lot of us just weren't well trained to be taking some of these classes. By showing up and showing that you care, you gonna get that C minus. Trust me. That's a tip for all you college students out there. Always show up to class. Show up after class when the teacher has his office hours. Talk to him. Get help on any assignment, any project. Make use of any labs that they may offer, any study groups that they may offer. Make use of all of that. Make sure the professor knows your face, basically, because you're just constantly there asking questions like, yeah, I don't understand this stuff. Please help me. Even if you, trust me when I'm telling you, I had no fucking idea what's going on in this class. I didn't really understand any of the assignments, but because I was always there, I showed that I wanted to pass the class, and this particular professor, he had me a couple different times before, so he's already used to my face, and by constantly showing up, he gave me that C minus. Work hard and you can get that C minus. But it's just basically about who cares and who doesn't care. Professors, I'm telling you, showing up, being attentive, and just caring will get you a lot farther than trying to cram or you can study as much as you want to study. Some classes it's just above your pay grade in a sense. Not saying that you could never understand it. It's just that if you haven't been prepared since, high school, middle school, elementary school, then you're just not going to be ready for some of these classes. Even the SAT, they say, is culturally biased. A lot of these classes, college, wherever, are culturally biased. People from low-income neighborhoods, they haven't had the proper training to take some of these classes. I mean, most of the stuff they taught us in high school was just bullshit. I mean, but anyway, I digress. I don't want to get too far off track. Anyway, that's a tip for all you college students out there. Show up, act like you care, and you will get that C-. Anyway, I'm scrambling to graduate. I'm scrambling to get my minors in order. Once I have my major, I actually forgot about another class. Spring semester of my second senior year, it was another class I was scared to death I wasn't gonna pass, which is Econ 376. I don't even know if I could tell you which one was harder. But again, luckily, I've had this teacher pretty much every year since like my sophomore year, when I finally changed to economics. She knew who I was, and again, I did the same thing. I showed up as much as I could show up, did all the labs, asked questions, went to the office hours. I mean, everything I could possibly do, I did it. Studied my ass off, like to the point where they're tired of seeing you. Like, okay, listen, I know you want to get it. You wouldn't be taking that class unless you were a senior. So these professors, they understand. So again, showing a professor that you care and you want to pass this class, and you're showing up, you're studying, and you know a little something, they're gonna give you that C-. And trust me when I'm telling you, I probably deserve a D or maybe even an F. I don't think I passed any of the. I mean, I probably passed a few of the tests, but the exams was crazy. And the funny thing is, you never get your last exam, like your last exam of that semester, because they're not going to finish grading it until the semester's already over. You already moved back home. So you kind of just waiting for your grades to come in, and you're like, oh my God, am I going to graduate? Am I going to graduate? Am I going to graduate? And then finally they came in. Your boy got that C-. And also at the same time now, I'm going to get into the minors. I wanted a business minor. I also wanted an African American Studies minor. The business minor, I waited too long for. The African American Studies minor, I had just enough classes to pull that off. So I do have a degree in economics, a Bachelor of Science in economics with a minor in African American Studies. That's a great thing. I couldn't pull off the business one because I guess I just waited too long. Matter of fact, also Business 201, that's accounting. I think it's micro accounting, and then Business 202, it's like macro accounting. I passed both of those. Then I started trying to get into the more advanced business classes, and I think I needed to take like calculus in order to get into sometimes certain classes that you want to get into will require you to have passed other classes. And had you been planning from like your freshman year, you would have been fine. You would have breezed through it all. Even if you failed once or twice, it gave you time to keep taking it and, eventually pass it. But if you wait till like your junior, senior year trying to put these minors together, it's going to be a problem. I wasn't able to get the business minor because some of the classes that I needed to take, I had to take a calculus class to get into it. I had just enough time to try to do it. However, failed calculus. And I failed calculus because it was a point when I was in like 7th grade where I was taking Algebra 2, never showed up. Never showed up at all for my Algebra 2 class. And with the days I did show up and try to pay attention, I was so lost, I just said, I'm not showing up for this at all. So all the college students out there, and matter of fact, even the middle school students, the high school students, slacking off, at earlier periods of your life could come back to haunt you. And I know damn well that had I showed up to my Algebra 2 class back in 7th grade, I would have had the tools I needed to pass calculus. Everything that they teach you, eventually you have to pass the beginners classes in order to get to the intermediate classes. You pass the intermediate classes to get into the advanced classes. So if you slack off at any point in your life, it could come back to haunt you, and you're not going to have the tools to overcome it. I couldn't wing it in calculus. I mean, it's just impossible. I had to give up on that business mind. I mean, that would have looked great. And I eventually came to realize that networking and internships is way more important than however great your degree name looks. As great as that would have looked to say I got a degree in economics, a Bachelor of Science in economics with minors in business and African American studies, I got one out of the two. So economics, African American studies. Those are the two things that are most near and dear to my heart. Changing the economics within my African American community. So I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to. It would have been great to have that business minor. Yeah, anyway, that year I was so focused on just passing that year. I don't even remember any parties from that second senior year. It was just all about I had tunnel vision at that point. So but I would say to all the people in college right now, or about to head to college in a year, 2 years, whatever. Even the people back all the way in middle school, pay attention to everything. Do as well as you can in every class. What you slack off today can harm you tomorrow. I would have never expected a class I missed in seventh grade to affect me in college. I'm like, I'm thinking there's no way, I mean, matter of fact, some of my early college classes, they would basically, especially like my English and writing classes, they would always tell us that the things they taught us in like middle school, high school was bullshit. And they don't teach us to be great writers. They don't teach us to be, all these, like the different formats they teach us to write in is just garbage. I don't know why they created some different system. I'm like, if we're supposed to be, if college is the stepping stone that you need to do to have a better life, shouldn't everything before that be college prep, so that when we get there, we have the tools necessary to conquer anything we need, to conquer everything we want to conquer or we need to conquer? Except you get there and you're like, oh man, I'm just completely out of my league here. I was scrappy enough to scramble my way through college, which that's how I describe my college experience. It was a lot of scrambling, finessing, and I'm just happy I pulled through. I did a lot of slacking off, a lot of procrastinating. I barely studied. And even when I did study, which I say around junior, senior year, probably not even as much as I could. Take all your classes seriously. If you know what you want to do, come up with a plan. Start looking towards graduation from freshman year. Because if you should have an outline of every class that you need to pass, specifically for your major. You should know every class you should pass by your freshman year. So as soon as you get there, whatever, if you know what you want to do, look whatever it is up, make an outline for all the classes you need to pass in order to get your degree for your major. And also outline what year you can take it. If you have to pass one class to get into this class, make sure you have those classes available. If you have to get into a calculus class in order to get into this business class, align it the right way so that you're not scrambling around like I was. And a lot of people, if thank God I was blessed with certain very a unique ability to just, I don't even know how to scramble, to be scrappy, to be creative. And I pulled a lot of things off that I did a lot of things I shouldn't have got away with. I'm lucky to, luck had a lot to do with it, because like the loan situation, I mean, shouldn't even have had that. And I wouldn't have had to scramble around like that had I been more strategic about it. Having a plan is always the best option. Having a plan is crucial. It would definitely have made my life a lot easier. I probably could have went to more parties. Probably could have went to more social events. Probably could have had more fun had I, planned everything out beforehand. And just in case there was a change of plans, like when I changed my major from psychology to economics, I would have been ready for it. Because that definitely set me back. Had I been a freshman, or had I been an economics major from freshman year, I probably would have breezed through it. So all the classes that the other economics majors have already passed, I'm behind. So now I'm behind playing catch up. And that's the thing that kind of has been a constant in my life. I procrastinate until I'm behind, then I spend most of my time playing catch up. I guess I have the ability to do it, but had I planned beforehand, I probably would have been leagues ahead of everybody. Constantly frantically stressing and worrying over, oh my God, am I going to pass or am I going to pass? Again, had I been more prepared or been an economics major since freshman year, certain classes, I might could have failed some classes, but still had the ability to take them later on. I could have had more minors, and also I took a lot of, the majority of the classes you take in college are free elective. You have your general business classes. I mean, not general business. You're just the general classes that everyone needs to pass. You need to have like a math requirement, science requirement, some writing classes. Just the basic a foreign language. I got to bypass that because I was born in a foreign country. Even though I don't speak a foreign language, I got to not take that. But I would have took all my free electives, and instead of taking bullshit classes, I would have just had a whole bunch of different minors. At my school, we needed 120 credits to graduate. So I mean, that's a lot of classes. The average class is about 3 credits. So 120 divided by 3, that's like 40 classes, something like that. Because some classes were 4 credits, some classes was 2 credits, some even 1 credit. So average about 40 credits. So I mean, that's a lot of different classes for you to be more strategic with. I could have had like 3-4 minors. I could have double majored. I could have had instead of minors, I could have had majored in economics and African American studies. So now when I graduate, I mean, I could do things in 2 different fields. I mean, it's so many things you can do when you plan ahead. My next video is the regrets on college. I don't want to spend too much time talking about my regrets right now. So Check the next video. It's your boy Kai. Provcityproductions. These are all my college experiences. Holla.